We just mind in the gap, mind in the gap, breathe. Leaders of the future, are you mind in the gap, mind in the gap? Let's meet with leaders of the future.
Jonathan, welcome to Minding the Gap Leadership. I'm honored to have you on.
Thank you.
Of course. So, and for everyone listening, Jonathan and I go way beyond business acquaintances. We actually serve on the Better Business Bureau Executive Board together. We've been serving now we're on our third year together. So I've seen Jonathan in leadership mode there in all the spaces that he's in. So before we jump in, Jonathan, tell those, that's out there that doesn't know Jonathan Dunwoody, who is Jonathan?
Okay. I'm Jonathan Dunwoody. I own Minuteman Press. I have been in the Huntsville area since 2008 when we opened shop. Got two little girls, 12 and 13 right now, and happily married, living in Summerville, Alabama.
Quite a commute, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
That's only because I get up at about 5 and leave about 5:30.
Ooh, yeah, before school traffic. Yeah, school traffic is its own nightmare. So I love that you're in the business where you're literally helping other people communicate their brand, their message, their identity. So obviously I see that as leadership just in its own way. So let's start at the beginning, because nobody just wakes up one day and says, I think I'll take on the responsibility of owning a business, running a business, payroll, deadlines, employees, contractors. How did you get into the business ownership?
Long story?
Long story.
Well, I was in my early 20s working at a restaurant, had long hair and bartending and waiting tables, and would go out every night and spend every tip that I earned that night, and decided it would be in my best interest to have a paycheck that could go in my bank account and save some money. So left the restaurant industry, went over to Kinko's, which was a big coffee shop back in the day.
Now, is Kinko still a thing?
No, the FedEx office bought them in 2003.
Okay.
So now they're called FedEx office.
Okay.
And worked from the ground up there, literally overnight shift. They moved me up the management ladder into management and then branch management after about 4 years. And after that, they were going corporate and started losing some of the family-friendly environment that we were working in, taking away raises and profit shares and things like that. So my stepdad at the time decided he wanted to help me go into business for myself. And I went to a franchise show in D.C.
Wow.
And found Minuteman Press. And so that's how I got into Minuteman Press.
Wow. So you knew that there was a show that was coming to D.C., or like, how did that kind of?
He looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I'd been with Kinko's, and they gave me a not a goal, a path. They gave me a path. I was kind of not sure what I wanted to do, and they made me feel like I had something that I could do for myself for a future, and they did.
Awesome. Tell us, like, what was your age whenever all of that was happening?
So I was 22 when I started at Kinko's.
Wow.
I was part-time in college. But I still didn't feel like I was doing anything that was going to pan out. Family-oriented atmosphere at Kinko's, with them wanting to hire from within, helped me feel like I had somewhere to go. So like I said, I did that for 7 years total with Kinko's. And then I went to a locally owned print shop and did just direct mail for 5 years for him.
That was all you did there?
Right.
Holy moly. Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, and then my stepdad wanted to help me get in business. We were living in Montgomery. Thank goodness we moved to Huntsville. But yeah, he wanted us to open up, and he said maybe Guntersville, and we said maybe not, maybe Huntsville. And,
maybe Huntsville instead.
Right. And yeah, it was the best move we've ever made. So.
Awesome. So tell me what Ashley was doing. So for those who don't know, Ashley's Jonathan's better half. So what was Ashley doing at this time? Like what did normal life look like for y'all before y'all started the venture?
She worked for ServPro.
Okay.
Down in Montgomery.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and loved what she did. She started off from the bottom just like I did, and ended up office manager there for a few years. I think she was with them for 5 years. And we moved up here, and she went to work for the ServPro up here, and did that for a few years, and then kind of bounced around. We started having babies, and
lifing, right?
Right. Ended up, we just felt like since we had grown as much as we had, and we wouldn't get in each other's way every day anymore, it'd be better for her to come work with me.
Yeah.
After about 12 years in business, so that if she had to go take the kids somewhere, she could leave and not have to worry about her job.
Sure. Yeah. She knew the boss, right? So was entrepreneurship always in the plan, or did it evolve in that scenario? Meaning, so I know that at the beginning of the master plan, like there wasn't a plan, but at what time did the light bulb go off and say, oh, this really is an opportunity that I could do? Was it right at that show, or did it come after that?
No, it was before that. Was when I wanted to do that. I didn't have the capital to do so.
Sure.
And I didn't know he was going to this franchise show. I didn't go to it. This was all my stepdad.
Okay, so
he came
went to
back
it.
and brought me information on everything and said, what he wanted to help me do.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So it was his master plan, probably.
Oh,
yeah. They usually have one, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
What I love is how business ownership finds you in the layers. So you were excited to build something, then reality hits, right? So all of those responsibilities. Do you remember your oh wow moment? Like the moment it became real, that it wasn't just a job, it was a responsibility?
Well, one of the oh wow moments that I had was when I went off to the franchise training in Long Island, New York. The training there was maybe a day on offset printing, and then most of the training was on marketing your business and how to grow your business. And I had been, like I said, in the back managing, doing production, doing direct mail for 12 years at that point, and thought I was going to open up a shop and people were going to come in and print.
They're going to be knocking your door down, right?
I didn't know I was going to have to go out and get the business. So that was my, oh, wow, really? Oh, I've got to refocus. Luckily, I've always been a people person.
Yes.
So it wasn't that big of a deal. So learning how to do different avenues of networking around town.
Absolutely, which you're great at. So that's such a powerful moment, because that's the gap that we talk about here on the podcast. So that's just the space between I have an idea or I have an opportunity, and now I have to become that leader. I think a lot of people underestimate that transformation. And I definitely think that people don't lean into that situation or into that space long enough to realize it, but then also to communicate that and how much it costs, right? So what changed about you in those early months or years when you're learning that, or when you're adapting it, when you're in that gap?
I guess the time spent growing the business. Luckily, at first, like I said, we didn't have children. So most of the time, I was at every event I could go to, whether it was after hours with the chamber, whether it was a Huntsville Quarterback Club on a Tuesday night, or on a weekend if we had a trade show or a home builders show or something like that to go to. I was in every single one of those. Luckily, my wife held out there and didn't divorce me for not ever being there.
I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
And she took care of everything else for me. So I had a good support system with her.
Absolutely. So you would say the availability, like you were just open and available to be all the things and be in all of those spaces. Right. So because people see the sign on the building, the success, the results, your relationships that you've built, and the longevity of your business, they don't always see the version of you that has to grow in it. And that's one of the great things that I love about this opportunity for me, is that I get to highlight that for people. So let's talk about leadership inside the business. So because print is not a slow business, I went and visited Jonathan placing an order for Continental, and he showed me this huge machine that took up like half of the warehouse, it seemed. And I jokingly call Jonathan like Santa Claus, and that's his like little elves and like workshop. But it's wild to think that it is so fast and it's fast paced. I know that Continental's been using Minuteman for now going on 10 years. And when I know, as the operator of the company, that I need something, it's usually I should have did that 4 weeks ago, right? And so it is a fast-paced business. Deadlines are real. Customers are counting on you, such as Continental. Some people are last-minute human beings. What's it like leading a team in that environment where time is a factor? Maybe you feel like you're running an emergency room without the emergency room, aspect of it.
Well, we've evolved over the years quite a bit in that sense. Because when I first started, I wanted every piece of business I could get. Anytime somebody came to me and said they needed 1,000 booklets in 2 days, we were on it, even though we didn't have the equipment or the people to get it done. I've worked a few 24 to 36 hour shifts in my day getting stuff done.
Santa Claus.
For clients. And evolving that into, yes, we can do it that fast, but we're going to charge differently for that.
Sure.
It was a big leap we took a few years back. And I literally went probably 10 years without doing any kind of extra charge for
Wow.
the next day or the next 2 days. So evolving that and having the team with me to know how to talk to people, that's the biggest thing is communication.
It is.
And having empathy for clients, seeing what they need and why they need it that fast, or why they have an issue with an order and how can we fix it if there's an issue. That was one of the main evolutions as far as fast printing goes.
Yes.
Because, we can do it fast, but letting people know that you're more likely to have problems when you do it that fast.
Sure.
And just communication is the biggest.
Absolutely. One thing I remember learning from you and your team there at Minuteman, there was a home show scenario, and we, Continental, are very involved with our Home Builders Association. And so we have a spring and a fall home show every single year. And every single year we're like, oh my gosh, we have the home show coming up. And so it's all of the prep work to get the printed items to hand out to, all of the attendees. And a lot of that takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, a lot of communication, especially if you're trying to revamp the brand or the image. And I remember between the spring and the fall home show, your team had reached out and was like, hey, Maria, just a heads up, we have home show in 2 months. I would love the opportunities to, sit down and speak to you about what your ideas are, what you're trying to accomplish in your booth. I love the thought that they were being proactive they knew I was going to be a issue, right? Like the 2 days before the home show. And so they were trying to be proactive, not for them, but for me, it felt like. And so I really did take a lot from that because it was how they communicated that, right? And it showed the initiative. And yes, it's important, but other things happened to where, that task got pushed further down on the list. And then it was 2 days. And then that was, the most important. So I definitely remember feeling that the Minuteman team was very proactive with us as a client, trying to get in front of, trying to solve those. So how do you set expectations with your team in a way that keeps standards high, but also doesn't crush morale? I know, for instance, on my side with my team, it's sometimes difficult to be the leader with deadlines and then also be the leader that understands and can relate to when life is lifing. So how do you set those expectations for your team?
Well, first off, we have daily production meetings. So we go over every order that's in house.
Daily. Wow. Okay.
Every morning. We go over every order that's in house. So everybody knows what's going on. And I separate it between the teams, but whether it's digital printing or graphics or wide format, the bindery area, apparel printing, whatever. It's separate work in progress reports that we go through. And if anybody is bogged down in a certain area, other people come over and help them in that area. We have set goals for the month. I send out weekly digest reports of the amount of sales we've done. It shows the top customers for that week. It shows the top revenue sources, whether it's digital printing or wide format or whatever the case is. So we all are on the same page and know where we're going together. I've got people a lot of the time, they're like, oh my God, why we can't do this that fast? Why are we doing this that fast? And I'm like, well, I took the order. They need it. And I said, I often tell them, have we ever gotten into a position that we couldn't get it done? Well, no, we get it done. Right. So we can get it done. I know it's overwhelming sometimes, but just one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Take one job, work on that job, and then we'll go to the next.
Again, that calmness that you bring, right? Absolutely. So when you're building culture, what matters most to you? I know that there's a lot of different factors that play into it, but what's the one thing that matters the most?
Yeah, culture is and I often claim that to the people in the shop and other Minuteman owners that we have the best culture in the state that I can see because I value my people.
Sure.
The owner of Kinko, the person that founded Kinko's, at a management conference back in 2000, that was his thing was it's all about the people. Treat your people right. They're going to treat your clients right.
For a long time, I've heard that it is all about the people. And I have a team now that I can stand behind that statement now, because things do just happen when you do have those people. Going back to, your original answer, it is the communication. I'm a huge advocate on over communicating. I don't think that there's a way that you can over communicate to somebody because if you do share all of those plans and, your goals and your executions and all of that, how could there be, I guess the room for error is very small whenever you over communicate. So I'd love for you to speak on this because you're great at this. how do you handle moments when someone isn't meeting expectations?
We do regular evaluations. So, we'll sit down with them and go over what's expected and why it's not happening, or let them know what's not happening that we or do expect, and ask what their challenges are and how we can help them get to that point where everybody's on the same page.
So just communication.
Right.
Awesome. That's definitely a leadership moment. That's what I tell people all the time. So leadership is not just being kind, leadership is being clear, right? So if you're always just that fluff person and just giving all the compliments and all the things, when you do actually as a leader have to, say, hey, this really isn't going the way we need it to go. Can we readjust, or can we look at that? It's like a deer in the headlight, right? Like they have no idea what you're talking about because you are just, that person who gives the fluff. For the listener who's leading a team right now, even if it's a small team or even if it's just themselves, what's a culture tip that you could give them?
Well, I started with one person and myself. And from day one, what I wanted to do was have quarterly meetings. And that was on a weekend, which is the only weekend that I require people. Quarterly meetings. And after the quarterly meeting, we go do something fun. So whether that's go-karts or throwing axes or an escape room or a rage room or
escape room. So like The Office.
Yeah. So with anything like that, just it's an extra time for us to bond.
Yeah.
Build teamwork.
You don't talk about work, right?
No.
Yeah, you have that in common, but then you get to do something fun that everybody hopefully enjoys, right?
And I encourage them, another Paul Orfalea thing, when they leave work, have a billboard or a sign of some sort on your way home that you look at. When you see that sign, stop thinking about work.
Ooh, that's a good
Way
one.
back in, when you see that sign, cut it back on.
Ooh.
Don't think about it when you're not at work.
Yeah, I might have to copy paste that one. That one's a really good one. So, what separates leadership isn't how the leaders act when everything is going well. It's how they show up when it's stressful. You have seen me stressed out over the last several years. Let's pivot into something you and I both care deeply about, the Better Business Bureau. So because Better Business is not just a sticker, it's not just a logo, it's not just a website, it's standards, it's ethics, it's accountability. What made you decide to not only be involved with Better Business Bureau, but step into the leadership in the executive board?
It was an opportunity that a colleague reached out to me about a few years back and asked if I wanted to check it out and try it out. And it was the first time that I'd ever served on a board. So I came and checked it out, and it was definitely something that I wanted to get involved with. I've been a Better Business Bureau accredited business for 15 years now, I think. It used to be a 2-year window before you could be a part of it. And I take pride in being an accredited business and being able to say that. And we're an AA plus rated, and we have been for 10 years, something like that.
Yes.
And to be able to be on the board and help shape the decisions that help that business run smoothly, as they are not only there for the consumer, they're there for the business. They don't just go after the business when the consumer has a complaint. They touch base with the business and ask what happens. They can figure out who needs to do what to fix the situation.
Absolutely.
They're not there just to go against the businesses. They're there for everybody.
So we were chatting a little bit before we started recording. In that conversation, I was saying how I became involved with Better Business Bureau, and that was by you. And you said, hey, would you like the opportunity to serve on the board? And immediately I said yes. And that's so unlike me, because usually I want all of the nuts and bolts before I commit to something. And I'm like, well, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds really cool. I had no idea what the responsibilities or the commitment would be. And so I really want to take my experience and shine the light on opportunities that other people would be able to have being an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, that they do have opportunity to be elected to serve on the board and kind of what that looks like. So that's kind of one of my goals in 2026, is to kind of shine the light on these boards and what is involved in that. So for the listeners, let's pull back the curtain. So when you're sitting in those meetings, it's not just the lunch. It's not just the celebrations and the awards that are very outward looking. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's those hard decisions. So how has the Better Business Bureau shaped the way you think about business ethics? And before you answer that, I can tell you on my side, I love the structure of a board meeting. I love that everything is presented. I love the financials. I mean, that really, really resonates with me in my position. And it definitely makes me strive to get that for the owner of the business. I love the structure of a board meeting. I love the time of it. And I love the agenda that's prepared for it, I can appreciate it because usually I'm the person who's doing that. And so it really helps in aligning goals for our company. So that's one thing that I get from it. But how has the Better Business Bureau shaped the way you think about business ethics?
Well, you just said aligning with your company. Same thing for me. I get to see firsthand complaints. I get to see businesses that are applying and they're wanting to become ABs, and then those that we have to let go, so to speak. Hearing what issues the Better Business Bureau staff deals with helps me have more empathy, as I said before, with complaints and with other businesses that are having these complaints, and with consumers that are putting the complaints in. So it helps me to, again, have empathy and bring that back to my business and help lead my team and communicate with them.
Absolutely.
On what to look for and how to talk to people, how to communicate with people.
Absolutely. It's definitely what I call a power hour. There's a lot of information given in that hour. I do take being on the board very serious. So much when we get the board packet, I do read through it. I don't want to just skim through it, and I don't want to just check a box, because a lot of those decisions are paving the path for the businesses going forward, or even, the other board members. One other thing that I get from it also is the consistency, and that it's almost a sense of accountability for the team at Better Business Bureau. And I think that that's very healthy for a business. Let's see. So as a business owner, what do you wish more business owners understood about trust?
It's not all about the dollar.
Yeah.
It's not all about getting it cheaper, because you can find it cheaper anywhere. Anything you want, you can find it cheaper. But it's not about that. It's about the relationships, building that trust, so that whomever your client is can count on you and knows they can count on you to get what they need done, and that if there is a hiccup, that you're going to take care of it.
Absolutely.
So building that trust is huge for me, has been since I opened the door.
Absolutely. So one exciting thing about the board meetings is we get to see the growth of our town and our community, and all of the newly accredited businesses that are added each board meeting to the list of businesses that are already a member of the Better Business Bureau. What is your overall thought of being a business owner, being a part of the Better Business Bureau, but then seeing our growth in our town? I know that you had mentioned, originally from Montgomery area, and that you're, excited to be in Huntsville. What is your mindset, or what's your thought process on the growth that we've seen over the last 3 to 5 years here?
Oh, it's been amazing. I love the growth.
Yes.
I think before they announced Space Command was coming here, we were adding 18 people per day to this area.
Isn't that wild? Day.
So yeah, I love the growth, and love that it helps so many local businesses.
Absolutely.
To feed their families, because they're, small business runs the world.
Absolutely. We had another location open last year, and it was always so surprising to me what I took. I didn't consider being in this location where we see cranes and we see businesses, new businesses pop up. In this location, there was a lot of despair and a lot of vacancy. And I didn't really realize what we had until I went to another location and could really see that. So it definitely made me very grateful for our town. What are your non-negotiables? So the principles you won't compromise, even if it costs you.
I mean, the main one is building the culture that I've built. I'm not going to let I give profit share to my folks. They have insurance. We have, like I said, the most important thing to me, I think, is the quarterly meetings that we have and the fun we have afterwards.
Yeah.
That, and then, as I said, taking time for yourself. When you're not at work, don't be at work.
Yeah.
When you're at work, be at work. When you're at home, be at home.
Yeah.
Take your time off. Go on vacations. Yes. Since day one, I've taken vacations at least a couple of weeks a year. And counted on my crew to take care of everything while I'm gone. And they told me over Christmas break, they said, go have vacation. Don't call us. Don't worry about it. And I don't.
Yes.
I don't. If they need something, if there's something going on, they will call me.
Yes.
They will text me. I don't check my emails. I have an auto reply.
Wow.
I don't.
That's
do it.
Amazing.
I let them handle it. And when I come back, there are fires to put out, but it's going to be that way whether I check my email or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very true.
Take time for myself, and I push for them to do the same thing.
Absolutely. That is very cool. Unplug to plug back in, right? So that right there, I think, is just the heart of the episode, and not everybody has that. I obviously struggle with picking my phone up and worrying, what email is out there, what is, something that's needed on on my team. It's easy to be ethical when it's profitable, but it takes a leader to be ethical when it's costly. So let's take this into the real stuff, because business ownership has beautiful moments, growth, milestones, community impact, but it also has moments that feel like pressure. What is a hard season you've walked through as a business owner that shaped you and your leadership?
One of the biggest things I learned that took me way too long to learn was fire fast, hire slow.
Yeah.
And I've had people that have drained me, that I've kept on staff way too long. And the reason being was because, like I said, it's a family and I want to be there for my folks.
Yeah.
But there's a point where you just have to cut ties and go, because they're costing you way too much of your own money and your own time.
Yes. Mentality,
and
right?
worry, and your own worry. Yes. So that was the biggest thing I learned over the years.
I do think my experience with that, the best way I could describe it to others that I've spoke with, it's like they take a little piece of you. Mm-hmm. And then you look in, the mirror and see what's left. And that's very unfair, but needed as a leader. And you really have to, what I say, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because if you allow that to happen with each person, you really won't have anything left to give to the team that really needs you, that's in front of you. So I can definitely agree and relate to that. It's very difficult. So how did you keep going in that season? So what are things that you leaned on, or how did you stay positive when you were going through that?
Well, I don't know where I got this really, but from when I first opened, last how was, how's everything going? Stay positive.
Yeah.
It's always, it's great. It's going great. Everything's great. Even if you are struggling and you're having to work 24-hour shifts, everything's great. And that's how we've grown to where we are. And that's what I had to keep doing. And again, working extra hours, we ended up losing some clientele, and it got hard. And after I cleared the bad vibes, so to speak, I had to buckle down and work a whole lot harder and actually do a lot of the labor myself.
Yes.
Especially when it came to signs and things like that. I went in there and I did all the signs myself.
Yeah.
Until I built back up a great team, which I have now. I hired somebody at a low rate that didn't have a whole lot of experience. And she said that she thought she could help me with the signs. And 2 years later, she's making a much higher rate.
Yeah.
And did all the signs.
I love it.
All the vehicle wraps and everything herself. And she's been an awesome addition to the team.
The way that you described your experience, I'm going to be completely honest. I had a similar experience, but I wasn't as positive. And I almost resented and took it very personal. And the one person who helped me through that was Butch, the owner of Continental. And I went into that mode of, forget it, I'll do it all myself. But then he very quickly reminded me, I'm only one person. I only have the 24 hours, even though I wanted to give that to fix it and to not be in that position again. It is, again, going back to, it is all about the people. And you do have to open yourself up to the vulnerability of being a leader, to lead a team instead of you just doing all the things, right? Yeah, that was a really hard lesson to me, for me. So I want you to speak to the person listening right now who might be in that season. So they're tired, like the word I use is exhausted, right? So like not sleepy tired, but like exhausted.
Right.
They're carrying a lot. They're second guessing themselves. What would you say to them?
Just keep pushing, keep pushing and it'll grow, because we were down. We were hurting bad. And I just started hiring a new team.
Yeah.
I was down to maybe 3 people, maybe 4, something like that. We just started, I buckled down and started doing a lot of the work myself, worked late hours, got some new hires in there. And now we're up to 14 people.
Wow.
So, and we're, since that 2021, we've grown 20 to 30% every year.
That is amazing, Jonathan.
Have banner years this year and last year, of course.
That is awesome. So I think that that's just it, because the gap isn't always exciting, right? So sometimes, a lot of times, the gap is lonely. You really don't feel like you've got a lot of people that can relate to that. Sometimes it feels like you're doing everything right and it still feels heavy. But I do agree that that's the season that builds you, unfortunately. I wish it was all easy and, it was just, oh, sure, I know how to do all of this stuff. Everything's going to be easy, but it's not. But I do feel like, looking back at those heavy seasons, I did learn the most from that. And it is something that, you learn. And you also, in my opinion, you want to teach other people to learn from your mistakes or
Yeah.
learn from, your advice or guidance.
And I'll tell you that you said you talked to Butch about it when you're having that problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's the benefit that I have with being a part of the franchise.
Yes.
Is that I have the franchisors that I can lean on. And I also have a lot of peers that are Minuteman Press owners in other states and other cities.
So you
that I can
literally
lean on.
talk the same language,
Right.
right? Yeah, that definitely helps. That was definitely a big help. Before we get into the gap round, I do have another question for you. I get this question a lot, just in random ways. How do you manage your time? So I know you are very involved with the community, with running your business. You always seem so cool, calm, and collected, like you are running your day. How do you manage your time to be everywhere and to do all the things, but still have calm, cool Jonathan?
Never let them see you sweat.
Okay.
Because I'm sweating a lot of times. Most people don't know it.
Yeah.
Most people don't see it. And somebody, a wise man once told me, if you're 5 minutes early, you're actually 10 minutes late.
I love it.
So I try to be 15 minutes early for
Yes.
most things,
Yes.
if I can.
Unless Madison traffic, right?
Right. But that also helps in that case,
Definitely.
not because of traffic.
Well, and I feel like if you arrive to those scheduled appointments on time, which is the 15-minute window before, it allows you to kind of collect yourself. Usually because of our growth in our city and in our town, there's a lot of traffic out there. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know how to use turn signals or, use the gas or the brake. Or if it's raining, they go super slow for whatever reason. So it allows you to kind of calm yourself, and before you, make that appearance in whatever you're joining. Absolutely. So, gap round. So short questions, short answers, just the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We need a drum set. So what is a lesson that you learned the hard way?
Hire slow, fire fast.
What makes a leader worth following?
Empathy.
That's a good one. One thing you wish you knew before business ownership?
That I had to market my business and it wasn't going to come to me.
Okay, say that part again.
That I had to market my business and it
Okay.
wasn't just going to come to me.
Okay. What do you do when you feel overwhelmed? Baumhauers, insert plug here.
Overwhelmed. Look away.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. One principle you live by.
Be where you are.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? Because you can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Agreed. The best part of owning a business. The best part.
The joy I get when people say they love working there.
Yeah. It's really not accounts receivable, is it? It's really not. What's the hardest part?
When people don't do what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And you have to counsel
reprimand.
them. Yes.
Yeah. Ugh. So that was awesome. I love how grounded your answers are. That's leadership. Okay. Last question. And this is my favorite question to ask leaders. When it's all said and done, when people talk about Jonathan Dunwoody, what do you want them to remember the most?
On employee side, that they never had a better job. On a client side, that they knew they could trust me and that they were in good hands.
I love it. Cheers, Jonathan. That's a wrap.